Ladies and gentlemen, today is November 7th, 2013. And this is the KNKL Show, episode 119. I'm your host, Kienan Lafferty, and today is Thoughtful Thursday. Speaking of thoughtfulness, we have some amazing people posting word art and all kinds of spam in the side chat there. I guess they were sent from a friend of mine, so I do appreciate my friend for sending all his viewers to my show. And today is Thoughtful Thursday, like I said, where we like to kind of step away from the physical skill of creating art, and we like to delve within our minds. We like to sit underneath the bonsai tree, meditate on what life is. And today we're going to be talking about something that is very awesome that was brought up to me by a very awesome man by the name of Boogie2988, aka Francis. Maybe you know him as Francis. But this awesome guy right here is talking about on the topic of success, because he has become a great, awesome YouTube person. And in this video, he said something that really, I know this is a really flattering picture of him too, but he said something that really kind of caught my ear, right? And what he said was, the common phrase is, opportunity knocks on your door, right? Opportunity comes and knocks, right? And you have to answer the door. But he kind of debunks this statement, and he says kind of the reverse. And he says that you have to seek out opportunity. You have to seek out opportunity. You have to find where it lives. You got to bang down its door. You got to kick down the door of opportunity, go in and grab him by the neck and shake him back and forth and say, I want my stuff, right? And I really like the way that he says it. He says it a little bit more passionately than I do. And for those of you watching this on YouTube later, I'll put a link down to Boogie's awesome video so you guys can check it out for yourself. But he's a great role model for me, and something that I hope to be as far as YouTube stardom goes, or that stuff. And already I'm enjoying just the people that have come here, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just get started on that. Okay, so knocking on opportunity's door. How do you go about doing that? How do you go about doing that? How have I done that? And how can you do that yourself? So how can what I've done hopefully help you out? And I think a good way to get started, I think that why this is especially applicable to artists is because it's like a lot of people, the constant question that I always get is, how do I break into the industry? That's what every artist wants to know. It's like, how do I break into the industry? How do I get my foot in the door? How do I do this and that? And really, the way that you do it, and I've said this many, many times, take for instance a lot of people that work at Riot, right? When I got my job at Riot, I decided that I wanted to work there, and I was already basically showing them that I could do the job before they hired me via doing fan art. And this is something I constantly tell you guys to do. If there's a video game company you want to work for, if there's anything that you want to do, the most important thing that you can do to knock on their door is, besides actually going to the studio and knocking on the door, which is a viable strategy too, a little crazy, but that could work too. That could work. It'll show your dedication, right? But a good way to knock on the door is to show that you're doing work already. Show that you are creating art of their product. Like me, I was creating pictures of League of Legends before I even worked there. I did like the Sona picture on the DeviantArt as well as Kog'Maw. All right, and that, again, those things got me noticed. That got like eyes on me at the beginning, right? And very much the same way. A good thing that I want to talk to you, or a good example, is with Emma. Say I started with Emma, right? And me, even with the thick skull that I have and how stupid and oblivious I am to everything that's happening around me, even with that, right? Some amazing artists, namely Alicia Ozzy, and I mean just people with amazing skills, right? Talking about Brian and Richie, right? Those guys that helped me out with the website, web end type of things. These people that just stepped up and they just have skills, and they show me that they can do it. They talk to me, they say, hey, I'd like to do this for you. I'm interested in doing this. They create art, and it inspires me. And then after a while, they put a team together themselves, and I'm like, oh, hey, maybe I could actually get some help doing this. Maybe I can get some help doing the comic. And then, finally I get it, and I ask them to help. But the way that works, people come to me, and they say they want to work for me and help me. The same mentality happens with any other company. It's the same exact thing. When I was working at Riot, it didn't matter whether there was a listing on the job application, like open jobs, like 2D artists, right? 2D concept artists, like it's all nice and framed right there. This is the way that I'll put it. If you go to a company's website and there's a listing for that job available, they are absolutely desperate. They're absolutely desperate. But here's the other thing. The way that you should go about applying is not just, oh, there's an open spot. Here, let me just put together my portfolio, my resume and everything. Let me get all typed up. And let me send it to this massive email box that'll just get buried with thousands of other entries that nobody really wants to look at and nobody will look at. And I know that for certain because nobody ever looked at the emails at Riot of the people that applied there. At least not many of them. Most of the people that got hired there were people that we already knew, people that we had already seen their work, we knew they were looking for work, or just, they were there at the right time. We saw their art on the forums. We had, someone referred them to us, like somebody knew somebody. And that's another reason why, connections can also help a lot too. But that's a whole nother thing. I don't want you guys to think, oh, well, I got to know somebody, otherwise I can't get in. It always helps. It always helps. And here's the other interesting thing, though, is that, for the question of how do I get to know people, again, that also comes by just doing what you want, by doing fan art of whatever company or whatever product that you want to work for. Those people are going to see that, or just artists in that community are going to see that, and other artists that are interested and other people that are interested in the same things you are, those are just as valuable of connections as anything else, right? Because if you get any sort of following for what you do, and I want to think about it this way. A lot of people say, well, how do I get a following? How do I get people to look at my stuff? And it really just boils down to value, right? Creating value with your work. And this is like such a fundamental thing that has escaped me for so long. Like I'm trying to figure out well, how do I start a business? How do I make money? How do I figure out what people want and then make that and sell it to them? And for a long time, with my first business and at the beginning of Emma, I was falling into these same traps. And the trap was, how do I get people to buy stuff? And what I didn't realize is that it almost works in reverse. It works in reverse almost all the time. And what you have to do is you have to create value of something. You have to create something value, something that you love, and something that is freaking awesome, right? And this is where I talk about having a unique style definitely comes into play. Learn the fundamentals and learn to be a versatile artist, but never forget your unique style. Because if you don't have a unique style, nobody is going to, you're not going to stand out. You're just going to be another one of these chums that, they can kind of pick out, like a freaking cage full of hens, just walking around pecking at the ground, you're pecking at each other, right? And then just grab any one of you. But if you are the massive, the weirdly gigantic rooster, sitting above everybody else, and you do something unique and awesome, then you are going to stick out above the crowd, and they are going to choose you, and they're going to pay you accordingly for your skills. Okay, so yeah, basically in a nutshell, creating value and knocking on the door of opportunity has to do with trusting in yourself. And I know this is so, I feel so bad saying this because it's so much easier said than done. And everybody says it. So it's I'm not saying anything new here. It's oh yeah, trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Do what you really want to do. And you've heard these things millions and millions and millions of times. But I think some of the strongest knowledge and some of the greatest knowledge is not things that you necessarily learn that are new, but you're reminded of, right? This is a really cool train of thought that was kind of, or it was a quote, somebody said, I forgot who said it, but it was really awesome. So the greatest things in life that you will take action on are not things that you learn, but things that you remember, right? You recall it, you remember it, and it's just these fundamental principles. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk a little bit more about why it's important to believe in yourself, why it's important to do what you really want to do, and kind of try to distance yourself from the opinions and whatever, and the opinions and the direction of others, they're trying to push you down, right? It's a freaking bowling lane. Your friends and your family are the bumpers on the side. They're trying to bump you back and forth so that we can get the strike or whatever. And getting a strike is obviously good, right? But I want you to think about this bowling alley as not just one lane. You throw the ball down this lane, and then it branches off into just infinite different ways. It branches off into hundreds of different ways. But a lot of people will try to just get you to go down this one lane. A lot of society, a lot of You know, your friends, relatives, they want to go down the beaten path, what everybody else is doing. What is everybody else doing? You know, don't worry about these other paths. You know, you can knock down 10 pins on this path. Or there's like 1,000 pins over there. Doesn't even make sense for the game, but you know, for the analogy, just keep rolling with me here. You take off that way, you're going to knock down thousands of pins. So, and this all has to do with, again, trusting your gut and doing what you want to do. And I think the reason why, you know, it just hit me. It just hit me. And this is kind of something that I've been feeling today. And just over the past few, like, weeks, months, you know, there's every now and then I finally, like, get this aha moment. And one of the things that I've really noticed, guys, is that my whole life I had the dream of working as a professional artist for a video game company and making tons of money doing it, right? Making great money doing what I loved. And the whole way there, you know, I was determined I was going to do it. I was fortunate enough to have parents that believed in me. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of friends that believed in me. There were plenty that didn't, trust me. There were plenty of friends that did not believe in me, and people that I really cared about that said I couldn't do it, said I was wasting my life, saying I was behind and all that stuff. And then I did it, right? I finally got the job. I achieved my lifelong dream. And then I realized, like, all these problems, you know, all these problems with, like, money and just worrying about, you know, just, like, friends and time and, like, oh, what about my dreams? What about freedom? What about all this stuff? That, especially the money. Especially the money. Here's the thing that really, really got to me, is that I realized, even when I was making way more money than I am now, right, working for Riot, working professionally, I still worried about money. I still had problems with money. And at that point, I had to ask myself, well, if it doesn't really matter that much, right, because like you adjust, obviously, to the amount of money that you're making. Before, you know, I was living in my own place, you know, and now, because I decided to start Emma and start my own business, I had to kind of like crunch the expenses, and I came back to Utah where it's much easier to live. My parents are taking care of me for right now, living rent-free, baby, woo! But, however, I'm a man, and I like to get my own place, and that's something I'm looking into doing soon. But, again, I guess what I'm trying to say is that in order for the financial troubles and like worries, in order for them to stop, I had to take control of it. I had to figure out exactly where my money was going, what my plan was. That's the biggest thing. It's a plan. And that's another way that you can knock on opportunity doors, by having plans. Plans, I think, is the biggest thing. It's like the biggest thing that I was not doing before. I was not making any plans. Now I got freaking cards. I got journals. I got note paper things. I make lists and plans for what I'm going to do. And immediately, you know, okay, and going past that, it's like with all these plans and all these things, even now that I don't have a job, like a secure job, and now I'm doing what I love, and I'm working freelance, and I'm doing all these things, I've realized that I am just happy. I'm just so happy. And I feel like my life has become so simple. My life has become so simple because I've just like cut all the fat away. Like I've cut everything else that used to be there that was like distracting me, and things that I thought were important, they really weren't. And I just got rid of all this stuff. And then I realized all that really matters is just doing what I want to do. Just making this comic, telling this story, doing the show, talking to people, inspiring people maybe, and you know, just helping. I love to teach. I love to help. And this is like, these are things that are so, these are like core values within me. And if those things are not met, if my core values are not met for freedom, for teaching, for believing in myself, for creating something of my own, then it doesn't matter what job I have. It doesn't matter how much I'm getting paid. It's not going to be a good life, and I'm not going to be happy. Every day I'm going to sit there and be like, man, is it, you know, is all this money just worth, is this worth, you know, not fulfilling myself to my greatest potential, right? Yeah, the money can buy me some nice things. Yeah, I got these, you know, I got these nice clothes, I got these nice boots. Yeah, I got a nice car and all that stuff. I don't have a nice car, I drive a Ford Focus, but what I realize is that I think before let's say the business it becomes a huge success. Emma, you know, I become a millionaire off of Emma and the business and all that stuff. I feel like I feel like because like anything that you work for and then you finally get it and then it has to satisfy your core values, anything that happens with that, you are going to be absolutely ecstatic and absolutely happy. And here's the other thing, is that you don't actually have to get there before you're happy. You, and I've said this before, you must be happy and you can be happy all the way there. And then what's really interesting is when you finally get it, you almost have like this bittersweet moment because you've finally gotten what you've been searching for. You've finally gotten what you've been chasing, this whole time. And then you know what happens? You very quickly find out what the next thing is that you're going to chase, and you're never satisfied. You always want more. You always want the next thing, and it's so interesting. And like I said, if it satisfies your values, you'll be like, oh man, that was awesome, and you'll just be ready to go on the next one. But if it doesn't satisfy your core values, what's going to happen is you're going to be like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, everybody look at me. Yeah, all my friends and family told me I couldn't do it. I did it. And they'll look at you and they'll be like, yeah, I guess you did. Good job. And then after they fade away, right? After they fade away, then you're like, there's nothing left. It's a completely hollow victory. Completely hollow victory. And I know we've kind of gone from knocking on opportunity's door to values again, but I think this stuff is really, really important. And I think one of the biggest, the reason why I segued into that is because I believe that knocking on opportunity's door, you are knocking on opportunity's door every time you just do what you believe you're supposed to do. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you want to make the world's best hot dogs, if you want to make some new type of ceiling fan that like those cool ring ones, except one that just sits on the ceiling and like blows air or something like that, and it looks really cool and modern. And just anything, whatever you're passionate about, I guarantee you that if you love it, if you absolutely love it, there's tons of people out there that love it too. And the other thing that I've realized is that when you're creating a business and just trying to market yourself, right? Because we're talking about artists. We're talking about artists. A lot of artists say, oh, well, a lot of people are into this. A lot of people are into this style. So I'm going to figure out how to do this style. That way all these people will be like, oh my gosh, you're so good at that style. You're so good. You predicted our love of that style, and now we love you. And I think that's a really bad thing to do. Don't change your style, and don't do things to your art just for other people, just for the satisfaction and the approval of others. Again, it's good to understand how to be versatile, right? Because when you work professionally, yes, you will have a person telling you what to do, and you will have to match a style, right? But I think that, I don't know, if you're anything like me, when you finally get that job, and I really think that a lot of you out there are going to get the job. A lot of you out there, like the people that have been submitting the stuff on the Facebook, and I just see how much you guys are improving. I know that you guys are going to be artists. I know that you guys are going to be artists working, doing what you love, and you're going to get paid for it. Professionally, freelance, you're going to put your stuff in a gallery or something. I know that there's so much talent that you guys have, and if you believe in yourself and you keep honing that unique style that you have, the world is going to be absolutely beautiful. And here's the other thing that I want to tell you guys, is that not everybody needs to like your art. If someone comes up and tells you, oh, you know what, I don't like anime. Anime's stupid. Anime's for kids. Or the way that you drew that face, that's ugly, right? You just have an ugly style, right? I don't like it. I don't like it. And you need to realize that that's really not important. That's not important. Even if everybody's saying they don't like it, it's almost more important that you believe in yourself. In fact, there was times when I was making Emma, when I was starting the comic, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to tell everybody so they tell me how stupid I am. I can't wait for everybody to tell me how dumb I am for quitting my job and making this comic. And you know what happened? All the people that I thought were going to say, oh, why are you doing that? That's freaking stupid. They're the ones that said, wow, that's so amazing. Oh my gosh, you just blew my mind. I can't believe that you're doing that. That's so cool. All the people that I thought were not going to believe in me, believed in me. And all the people that I thought were going to believe in me, well, some of them did, but then some of them didn't. And that part really, really surprised me. That really surprised me. So just understand that, take that almost as a road sign. You're on your way, right? You're on the journey, running towards your dream. And when those people start sitting on the side, they start heckling you, they start trolling you, these people come in trying to stop you, that means that you are on the right track. That means that you are on the absolute perfect path. When everybody is telling you to stop, when everybody's telling you that you suck, that is the most important time. And that's when you know that you are on the exact path that you need to be. Okay? And that's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to so many other people. And you know, the reason why they're trying to stop you is because they can see it. They can see you succeeding. They're afraid of you succeeding, and they think that they're going to lose you. You know, if they're friends, you're like, oh man, they're going to succeed and they're going to be something great. You know, and I'm going to be back here, you know, just the same as I always was. You know, so it's almost out of love that they do that. Some people are genuine trolls and they just try to, they like to mess things up, right? Some people just like to mess things up. They get their gratification and they get their sense of self just from messing with other people. And like successful people, people that are on that path to success, will attract those people. They will attract not only supporters, but they will attract hecklers. So anyway, let's see. I'm gonna look over here. Sorry, I haven't been reading the comments too much. Let's see. Yeah. We've been going for about 25 minutes, so I think you know what time it is. It's time for Question Catapults! Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. Launch your questions, much like this car, over the castle walls, and I will answer them. Please do so now. And in the meantime, I'll just kind of follow up and finish off everything that we said today. So, again, check out that video by Boogie. Really, really awesome. He's a very passionate man. And I love his stuff. I love how he talks about just in this world, you have like your worth is based upon how useful you are. And I really believe that, you know, when people think useful, oh, so useful means I gotta go get a degree. I gotta go do what other useful people are doing. But here's the other interesting thing is, is that if there's not like a demand for whatever it is that you want to make, if you are truly passionate about that, you will almost create the demand. You will create the demand just because of who you are and because of how, like, why you're doing it. And this is another thing that has been talked about with just successful businesses. A lot of businesses succeed not because of what they're selling. They succeed because of why they're doing it and what's their motivating factor behind whatever it is they're doing. It doesn't matter what the product is, but why they're doing it is what makes them successful. And I truly believe that that can be applied to you. Okay, so that's why I tell you guys, like, focus on what you really want to do, right? Get your stuff done, right? Like, if you got bills to be paid and all that stuff, I understand. Like, you got to get a job. Sometimes you got to get jobs that you hate. I've had jobs that I've hated too. I worked as a waiter at Olive Garden. That was like the worst thing in the world. And then I hate working as a waiter. Like, ugh, I'm just so bad at it. Like, I admire people that can wait tables properly because I cannot do it. I am a terrible multitasker. I'm an artist. I'm used to just like focusing on one task, one piece of paper my entire life. So you think I'd be able to take care of like 5 tables of, you know, hungry families at once? Is nearly impossible for someone like me. So anyway, understand that, you know, there's going to be challenges. Sometimes you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do to make it, right? And understand that every experience has something to learn from it. Everything has, as funny as it sounds, when I was working as a waiter, you know, the only thing, you know, I might have said, oh, well, that was a waste of time. Or selling jeans at the mall, I might have said, oh, that was a waste of time. But the things that I learned from that, went straight into working at Riot. And the biggest thing that I learned while working at those jobs was how to interact with people, how to speak to people, how to speak to strangers and make them feel like they're, you know, you're their friend, or like you're helping them out. And genuinely, I'm not like trying to trick people and be like, oh yeah, I'm your friend. Oh, just shove this $100 pair of jeans on them and they buy it, you know. But it had a lot to do with public speaking. That was kind of my first experiences with public speaking, and just having the confidence in yourself. And even if you don't have it, just like faking it. I love that, which is basically what I always did. Okay, so yeah, in the beginning I always faked confidence. All right. Oh yeah, sorry guys, we did drop a couple frames. I do apologize for that. All right, Toucans is asking a great question, as well as Stained Cleaver. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Knocking on doors yourself, and it really is just skill when it comes to art. I noticed in places like Riot and stuff, they have requirements such as some high form education, like a bachelor's. Yeah, okay. And here's the other thing. Yeah, Toucans, especially in art, it does not matter what. I'm not dissing anybody who's gone out and gotten a degree in art, but if you have a bachelor's or a master's degree in art and you still can't paint, Like, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. And the same thing is if you're right out of high school and you can paint like a freaking boss, everybody's going to want you, because it comes down to simply, what can you do? What can you do? What is your gift? What is your gift? And the way that you do that, the way that you knock on that door, is just by showing it. Post it on the forums. Post it on DeviantArt. And don't expect like a red or like a moderator to all of a sudden just go there and be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Let's give you a job right now. It takes time. It takes years. It takes years and years and years and years. And this is why I say it's very important that you don't rely on the end goal. Don't rely on the end goal. Say, this is my end goal. Take the journey and enjoy it the whole way there, because you're going to be doing what you love. You're going to be developing your unique style. You're going to be learning all kinds of other styles that we can be versatile. And when the time comes, the people, you almost attract it. You almost attract the door. You attract the door, and all you have to do is knock on it, right? All right. Stain Cleaver is asking tips for overcoming anxiety and social awkwardness. Yes! Love it, man. We could have made a whole episode just on this topic today. In fact, anxiety and social awkwardness, this is something that I've always had. I've always had this growing up. And you might look at the stream now, and you might look at the show and be like, oh, man, he's so outgoing. He's so positive. He can just go on and on and on and just talk. And just blab, this babbling brook, right? I get it from my dad. But I wasn't always that way. If you look at the beginning shows, you know, I was much more kind of quiet, kind of, you know, like, and I still have nervous tics. I still have nervous tics. One of the ones that I have is, I always say, right? At the end of something, I'll be like, da-da-da-da-da, right? That's something that I'm working on trying to get rid of. But the tips that I can give you for overcoming social anxiety is you almost have to, face your fear. And that's as simple as it is. I have a fear list that I compiled, and one of the things really is, you know, fear of rejection. I'm so afraid of people rejecting me. I'm so afraid of people not liking me, people yelling at me, all this stuff. And the way that you can overcome that is you just have to step out of your shell. You have to overcome it. You have to step into the fear. Much like a dark room. I'm afraid of the dark. And I literally will walk into the basement when no one's home. Actually, I have yet to do it when no one's home. That's really scary. But walk into the basement, it's pitch black. And I know that there's nothing down there. I go down there all the time with the light on, but it's so scary for me to walk into the darkness. So, yes, much like the darkness, you must face your social fears, okay? And really, like, if anybody thinks you're weird or whatever for trying to come out of your shell, then you shouldn't even be hanging out with those people anyway, okay? All right. Last question, and then we're done. Sorry, I cannot get all of your questions. I'll take a look at them, and then I might save them for another time. This one's coming in from Jastrock. He's talking about, oh, since we have a zombie dog, we should have zombie sharks. Well, this is more of a statement, I think. Yes. Zombie sharks, yes, Jastrock. I was thinking about doing other zombie animals. Okay. Let's take one more question, because that was definitely an awesome statement. Stuck-a-Zero is asking, when I get really inspired, I put a large majority of my time into drawing. It seems suddenly friends especially seem to be more distracting, wanting to hang out more or whatever. How do you communicate that you just don't have as much time for the things like hanging out all the time? Or do they react negatively to you telling them? Ah, okay, this is another fear of mine, is saying no. Saying no. And this goes back to the fear of rejection. Because you're afraid, ooh, if I say no to my friend, are they going to reject me? Are they going to think that, you know, I don't care about them anymore and just like leave? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's what gives me strength when doing those things. Because yes, my friends want to hang out all the time too. And you know, sometimes I'll have this really cool event or something that somebody wants to go to with me. And I have to say no. And the reason why, what's really got me doing this is, and this is another lesson that we went into a couple of weeks ago, is honoring your commitments. Honoring your commitments. And the way that I phrase it is this way. Because everything that I say I'm going to do, I absolutely must do it. So when you take on this mentality, it's very interesting. You know, your family member asks you to do this little side project for them. You don't really want to do it, but you know, you're like, Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then do that, and then you don't really enjoy it the whole time. And it's like, this is kind of a waste of the time. But, they really appreciate it, and you're like, okay, that was good. But did I really have to do that? If I wouldn't have done that, if I would have just said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that, would they have hated me? And the answer is no, of course not. So, basically what happens is just keep saying yes. Just keep saying yes. And honor every commitment that you make. And then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start to get sick of it. You're going to start to get sick of it to the point where you're going to say, eventually, you're going to say, I'm sorry, I like to honor the commitments that I make, but I cannot make, I don't want to make a commitment that I will not be able to keep to you. I'm going to be busy on this day, and, you'll offer some other day. Be like, hey, maybe this weekend, maybe next week, whenever you're going to be freed up. The most important thing is that if you've committed yourself to creating a piece or created a painting, make sure you have that amount of time to yourself blocked out. Like, nobody takes you away from that. Nobody takes you away from that. And the only reason that you need is that I have made a commitment to myself to do this right now, and nobody can contest that. Nobody can argue with that. Nobody should argue. And, nobody's even going to. If you say, I've committed myself to this amount of time doing this, sorry, I'm not going to be able to hang out. Do that, and you'll be good. All right, peoples! Thank you for tuning in live on Twitch. We need epic outro music. Where's that at? Yes, thank you once again for joining me live as usual, especially with all the fun that we had in the beginning. We had some interesting spammers going on over here, but yeah, that was some good old-fashioned fun. People on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. We'll be working on maybe some Emma concept art. I think that'll be really nice. But we'll be working on some Emma concept art. But you guys take care. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday.